it's hard to believe now, but we had signed up for the short course at Casco and we were like, oh, we're just going to try it. We don't know if we're going to be able to finish it. And I was like, whoa, it's 8 miles of running. We were kind of like, let's just go see how it goes. And I knew a lot of, serious triathletes, Ironman type people who had done the full course. And I was like, oh, I'll never do that. We're just going to get through this thing. We did the short course and it went great. And we finished feeling good and feeling great, actually, and wanting more. So that's kind of how it all started.
Welcome to the Low Tide Boys, a Swimrun podcast. I'm Chip.
And I'm Chris, and this is episode 243 of the show. 243. I can't believe it. We're almost at 245, almost at 250. It's kind of crazy. Thank you for listening wherever you listen to podcasts or checking the show out on YouTube if you want to see our faces. At time of release, we're on the eve of the 2024 edition of the ÖTILLÖ Swimrun World Championship. And we have a great episode to celebrate the big day. Joining us to talk about their forthcoming experience is Tracy Sesselberg and Sarah Haskell, aka Team Tracy and Sarah's Excellent Adventure. This was a great conversation, and we can't wait to follow them on race day. But first,
Chipper knee update, everybody. So The most popular question in our Instagram DMs, how's Chipper's knee?
Yeah.
Well, it's still here. The knee is a lot better, a lot less swollen than some of you. We only had a few brave souls dare to ask for photos of how swollen it was, but
I'm actually surprised anyone asked. Everyone's like, yeah, let's see it.
Okay.
Let's see it.
I was showing someone at work. I'm like, here's what my knee looked like. And they're like, oh, wow, that's really why. Anyway. So momentarily, we'll have Chipper knee update and training updates as Chris is preparing for his Rut 50K here in just a few weeks. But the still TBD on the knee, exactly. So the update is had an x-ray, which was like a precautionary thing. No bone breakage, which I feel like good.
Small victories.
Small W there.
Yeah.
MRI is scheduled for next week. So we'll know more then. And then,
keep Chipper's ligaments in your prayers.
Yes. Thoughts as well, please.
Thoughts are good.
But yeah, trying to get better range of motion, still like have a knee brace hobbling around. But as I showed up to work today, they said, oh, you're not limping as bad. So
that's good.
It's an improvement.
Progress.
Now for this week's shout out.
Yeah, this week we're shouting out our two newest patrons from Patreon, Brett and Sarah. Thank you both so much for the support. Really means a lot. It's just always gobsmacked anytime anyone starts supporting us. This shows a labor of love, and it really helps us feel energized and makes us produce a bunch of stickers. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Brett and Sarah. Now for our feats of endurance, multiple.
Haven't done one of these in a while.
We haven't done this, but I saw this happening, and Chris has it here on the notes. So I'm glad to see the surface, but this week's winner is our friend Matt Murray. He's one half of Team Landshark, who you may have remembered from episodes past.
I thought you were going to just whip it out.
That was one in the 130s.
I think it's in the hundreds, yeah.
Okay. He raced his first 50 mile over the weekend, so strong work on that. And then Sarah, the other half of the Landsharks, was running social media comms for him. So
excellent job.
Great teamwork on that. But way to go, Matt. Way to be on that 50 miler. That's impressive stuff. Yeah. Very solid time as well.
I DM'd him right after. I was like, you going to sign up for 100K yet? He was
like, nope. 10 more. It's only another half marathon after that. And of course, bonus shout out for everyone that raced this past weekend's ÖTILLÖ Mackinac Island.
Yeah.
The weather looked amazing. IG coverage was on point. Way to go, ÖTILLÖ USA. And the FOMO was induced.
Yes.
Yeah. And shout out to Aaron Pallion of ÖTILLÖ USA, behind the scenes.
I know. Finally did his first.
Busts out there, did his first swim run. Lars busting balls on the IG, I heard. So very good on that.
Appropriately.
Yeah. Looks like he did pretty well. So way to go, Aaron. And yeah. You want to be considered for feats of endurance or view other people's feats of endurance, head on over to Strava, search Low Tide Boys, and join our Strava club over there. I've been loving the community's been picking up over there. We got people posting their cool swim runs, questions about what shoes you're looking for a partner. It's all there in the Low Tide Boys Strava community. So
keep
head
it
on
up.
over there and join up.
Yes.
Now, for a little bit of show business. So have you been inspired by all the recent ÖTILLÖ races, whether that be Whistler earlier in July, Casco Bay, or even last week's Mackinac Island? Yes. Glad to hear. If you want to race one of ÖTILLÖ's remaining races in North America, be sure there's only 2 left, people. Only 2 left. We have Orcas Island, and then we have Austin. You can use the code LOWTIDE15. That's LOWTIDE15. Save yourself a cool 15% off race registration. You could sign up for both.
Go for it.
So it's almost like 30% if you use it twice. Math.
Sure.
Now for this week's episode with Team Tracy and Sarah's excellent adventure.
Yeah, it was really great to catch up with Tracy and Sarah on the cusp of their travel to Sweden for Worlds. We got all the details about how they qualified, how they're trained for the big day, and what they hope to get from the experience. I mean, this conversation had all the feels, and we're really stoked for their upcoming excellent adventure. I'm sure you saw what I did there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just, we were trying to get this set up for a couple months. So I'm glad we got it in before the race. And really, we're trying to give everyone, and I think it came through. It's like, hey, man, yes, this race is a beast, but you can train for it and you can do it. And I'm super stoked for that.
I don't see how anyone that listens to this can't be rooting for Tracy and Sarah after this. I was so excited and energized for them because I know what an amazing day they're going to have out there. And we had a great conversation with them.
Yeah, my race and FICA FOMO. Super high right now.
It is getting high because people are over in Sweden now. I see Marcus and Beek and other folks are over there. So
must be nice.
Yeah. But anywho, on to this week's episode with Team Tracy and Sarah to hear all about their excellent adventure.
Forthcoming.
Pretty soon. Just days after release.
Days.
They're in the bubble right now, probably.
All right, very excited for this conversation on the eve of the 2024 edition ÖTILLÖ the Swimrun World Championship. Welcome to the show, Team Tracy and Sarah's excellent adventure, Sarah Haskell and Tracy Sesselberg. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Happy to be on here.
At time of recording, we're so happy to have you. This is something we've been trying to get in the works for a while, so I'm glad we're finally here. But at the time of recording, we are very, very close to to Sweden for what we consider to be just like an amazing, magical experience. How are you feeling knowing that this huge event is on the horizon for you guys?
Good. I mean, we'll be on the plane in 48 hours. So
it's real.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's getting real.
Yeah, it's really real. We're really excited. We're definitely a little nervous, but we've done a ton of hard work and we're really looking forward to it. It'll be an adventure for sure.
So nerves are certainly warranted, right? It's a big day. Now, why don't you take us back to, how'd you guys meet? Like, who got the swim run bug, and sort of tell us your origin story.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Tracy, do you want me to tell that?
Yeah, why don't you tell it?
So, is it okay to tell? Actually,
yeah, totally.
Wow. I'm ready now.
So I oh no, I'm actually a registered nurse, and Tracy's husband is an electrophysiologist, and so I am his nurse that works in the office. And so a couple of years ago, I really wanted to do Casco Bay, and I was worried about doing it alone. And he had mentioned that his wife, Tracy, was very interested in doing it, and her partner got hurt. So,
and Sarah and I did not know each other at that point.
We had
met like once briefly, but didn't know
at the holiday party or something.
Yeah, exactly. The holiday party.
Exactly.
Both trying like some cocktail.
Right. And so exactly. And it just worked out. And I think now he just regrets getting us together. So
I think
for
he
sure.
definitely
So,
he had no idea that we would be going
yeah,
to Sweden when he was doing this matchmaking.
no, I don't think he had a clue. I know.
Wow.
So your first race was Casco was ÖTILLÖ even in the sights or on the horizon? Did you even know about it, or when did this magical Monday that you guys will be experiencing in a week or two? When did that come into your radar?
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I mean, I don't know about you, Sarah. I knew about it from listening to you guys, but it's hard to believe now, but we had signed up for the short course at Casco and we were like, oh, we're just going to try it. We don't know if we're going to be able to finish it. And I was like, whoa, it's 8 miles of running. And so, we were kind of like, let's just go see how it goes. And, we had known I knew a lot of, serious triathletes, Ironman type people who had done the full course. And I was like, oh, I'll never do that. We're just going to get through this thing. And then I got COVID really, and I was super sick 2 weeks before that race. So, but we did the short course and it went great. And we finished feeling good and feeling great actually, and wanting more. So that's kind of how it all started.
I think
Nice.
if I remember right, we were doing a short training session and I had watched like the exciting videos that they put out. The
We've all
last year's
fallen victim
videos were
to those
really
videos.
cool.
Yeah.
Right. I know. And I was telling Tracy, I'm like, Tracy, I really would love to do this. And we kind of laughed and you didn't think it was
Yeah.
anything that we could ever do. You know what I mean? So
And here we are.
here we are. I know.
So, well, obviously there had to be a progression from like, we don't think we can ever do this to like, again, at
Let's
time
do
of
it.
recording is like 8 days away. I mean, it's here,
Yeah.
it's happening.
It's
Like
right.
about, obviously you had to have the confidence, you qualified, got the points to qualify and everything, bridge us from, there's no way we can do this to we're doing this in 8 days.
Yeah, we did that first Casco race and we were like, wow, that was really fun. We want more. And so
Hmm.
at some point, I don't remember how long after that it was, we decided we'd go to Austin. And I think even our husbands then were like, what? You're going to go travel to go do one of these races? And so we went and did the long course at Austin, which was a perfect progression from the short course at Casco because it's longer, but not that long. And we had a blast. And then what did we do? Then, last year before that, we were going to do the long course at Casco last year. And we all know what happened then. It was
Yeah.
foggy. So, and then Odyssey had given us that discount code as like a consolation prize to go to Mackinac. So we decided to go to Mackinac and that was really fun. And so then we went back to Austin and that was when we qualified for Worlds in Austin because we had a great race. We cut 40 minutes off the previous year's time.
Wow.
And
Nice.
yeah, so we were super happy. And that's kind of when then we were like, oh, okay, here we are. So
Awesome. Well, so it sounds like from, cutting 40 minutes off at Austin's a pretty significant improvement. So congrats on that. Did you kind of
thanks.
start to like increase the training a little bit or start to be a little bit more specific or kind of start to dial things in? It sounds like a little bit.
And that's what I was about to say. So we hired a coach, I think, which was a game changer. So I think you had Liz on here a while ago, and she was just phenomenal. And so starting out, we really didn't have anywhere to essentially get a really good training plan or a really good idea of like what we needed to do. And so it was a little intimidating. And I think I would have to say Liz has really gotten us through the majority of this way. So for sure.
Well, this is this is safe space for girling fanboying on Liz, right? Like I think it's really, if we're talking about, when we were talking before we got online, or before we started recording was really like, hey, we want this show to kind of be of service to people that are racing world champs and want to go there and have a great day. And I think it bears mentioning, like, having a coach, sort of investing in that, not just like financially, but also just like in terms of time and,
Yeah.
mental space and effort. It's just so important because, again, swim run is such a funky sport. You talk to 10 people, 9.5 of them don't know what you're talking about, 9.5 of them. And it's really like, well, where can I get any sort of expertise? And there just isn't that much around. So find someone like Liz, who's obviously done world champs and is, one of the best swim runners in America, basically. Like, to have her essentially guide you is just super important. And, pro tip to anyone out there, like, you really want to progress, a coach probably helps you. And this is a question for you guys. In my sense, is like a coach probably helps you jump a bunch of, just get a bunch of extra experience points just from having that frame of reference and someone you can bounce stuff off, pacing, things like that. Is that what you felt as well? Like, by working with her, you're able to really kind of level up your performance?
Yeah,
Oh, for
absolutely. I mean, I had never run more than like, a half marathon before we started this. And I had only done that
Mm.
once, and it was last fall after we went to, I guess, Mackinac. So, and our big concern, we're not 20. So we're both busy moms. And, we were like, we just want to be able to do this without getting injured. And she really did an awesome job kind of, ramping up our training and being very mindful of, injury and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how we could have done this without her. So,
Yeah,
for sure.
having a training plan that it's sort of, I mean, at least for me, and it sounds like this is how you all feel as well. It's like it really just takes a huge stressor off. Like, I don't have to think about what to do necessarily. Like, I check, the day before, what am I doing? And it just makes it easy. Just show up, do the
Right.
do the workouts at my best of my ability. And I find that to be like one of the best things about the coach. Obviously, just having a lot of trust in them and their plan there.
right. Right. Yeah. And exactly the anxiety of, oh my gosh, what am I doing today? So it sort of takes that away. And so you've got a plan, exactly how to follow that plan to get to be, to where you need to go, I think it was super helpful for sure.
How much of your training are you guys doing together?
Mhm. I don't know. I feel like in the beginning we did a lot more little runs together. And then our schedules are both kind of crazy. Sarah's is crazier than mine. So as like the runs got longer, it was harder to do them together, I
Yeah.
think. But then I would say 99.9 of the swim runs that we had, we did together. And
Mhm.
then what else? We did that 15-mile run together. The one
Yeah.
where
I think I think she tried to get us together at least once a week. I feel
yeah,
like,
at least once a
yeah,
week,
at
sometimes
least once a
more.
week. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And then
But
we
that's
did
super
I
the
mean,
helpful.
pool
And you're like,
workouts together in the beginning. But then as the summer went on, the hours at the pool didn't work for me as well. So I went to the Y instead. Right. So we didn't
yeah.
do those together. But definitely once or twice a week for sure.
sounds like a lot of your quality sessions too, like the high quality stuff, the swim runs and those big, long runs on the weekends or whatever. Those are the ones that I feel like, especially from Chris and I's experience, like those are the ones that really kind of help you solidify the partnership. And okay, you kind of see them when they get,
Mhm.
oh man, they're bonking a little bit, they're behind in nutrition. How do they kind of get when they're bonky a little bit? Or, if I'm cranky and I stop talking, Chris knows what that means. So those
Yeah.
type of sessions are
Yeah.
are good good to
Yeah.
lock in.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that what you all found
Oh,
from those joint sessions?
oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think Tracy's kind of the mom in our relationship, and so she's
Well,
yelling at me a lot for sure.
you've had teams on before. Like I think Mama Boys were saying, one of them is more OCD and the other one's a little more go with the flow. And we're exactly like that, which is why I think it works so well. Because, one of us is way more anal retentive than the other one. And so, and then kind of you keep me in check too. You're like, let's just go run and let's
Yeah.
not worry
Yeah.
about everything as much. So
Yeah.
I think that that helps. Yeah, that makes us a
I
good
think that
team because we
makes
complement
us a
each
good
other.
team for sure.
Yeah. Stay upright,
Stay alive.
right? Like, don't get hurt,
Right.
finish and just try to be really present and have a good time kind of thing. How are you thinking about, goals going into it to try to like, at least, going open-eyed, obviously, as to the level of difficulty, but, there's so many other things to consider.
Right. Yeah. So I think our biggest goal is just to finish and enjoy. I know the second cutoff is stressing us a little bit. So I think our biggest goal is just to make that second cutoff at this point. And then smooth sailing. So, and I do want to enjoy the race, you know what I mean? And I think, stressing about it doesn't help my enjoyment, obviously. And when you watch those videos and you see the girl Trista on the swings, you're like, okay, I'd really like to enjoy that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
Um,
want an extra minute to be able to swing.
It's possible.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think, my goal anyways is to finish and still be happy with our time and still be content with the way that we did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and same. Want to finish. That's the goal. We worked really hard to get here.
Yeah.
But it's, people always say trust the process. We've trained hard, so we should be able to finish it, as long as it doesn't go sideways. And we have had that happen before. So we know what that's like. So, we're just, I love being outdoors. I love the adventure. I know Sarah does too. So we just really want to enjoy the day. And I think I've gotten to the point where I'm like not worried so much about what's the weather going to do. I'm trying to only worry about the things that I can control. So, which is a big
Smart.
change for me. I used to obsess about weather and stuff like that. So I'm trying not to even think about that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the race is happening on Monday, right? Like it's happening.
Yeah.
And
We've got our
whatever
10-day
the weather is,
forecast. So
whatever presents you, and certainly we found, if I can speak for Chipper here, it's like, the more you kind of like acquiesce to the things that you can't control, like the more you focus on what you can, right? And then it's just like, oh, well, it's a little warm, so I guess we'll have to deal with that, or it's a little cold, so we have to deal with that, or whatever. And certainly, I think like having sort of like a healthy respect for the day is important, but also kind of being okay with the ambiguity of it all. And it's a
Yeah.
long enough day where it could be wonderful in the morning and gets crappy in the afternoon, or vice versa, or like who knows, right? So it's if you can't, factor for it too much, it's like you're still going to start that thing when it starts at 6 a.m.
Right.
5 a.m.
Right,
When is this?
exactly.
Can't remember.
6.
Yeah, I was
6
like, I don't know what time does it start.
It was actually, I
it's
think it's
literally
like
the earliest
5:50.
sport ever.
Yeah.
Like every single swim run, you have to get up at 3:45 in the morning. I mean, even our local race.
That is true.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love even your team name, Excellent Adventure. Like from hearing both of you share and kind of what your goals are and what you're looking for, like you seem just set up to have such an excellent adventure. So I'm really excited for you too, because we know what the magic is like, and you're gonna get it. So
It's kind of like you're
Thank you.
manifesting it, by just calling it excellent. It's like, oh, that's what it's got to be.
Yeah. It seems a little unreal. I mean, we're just a bunch of old ladies trying to do this. So
Yeah.
That's
kind
what
of
we
cool.
feel. That's what we feel. When we
I know
showed
our
up,
kids are like,
that.
seriously? What time?
What are we
How
doing?
many hours are you going to swim for tomorrow, Mom?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I do.
funny.
I have a funny story. So, we live fairly close to Casco Bay, and we're fortunate enough to be able to run back and forth to the ocean. This is sort of what got us going on this. And I remember one day doing a training session, and I'm running down my street to the beach, and I have all my swim run gear set up, and my son is 14. His bus drove by, and all of the kids were sticking their heads out the window, screaming.
Oh no.
I go home, and he was like, "This is my 14." He was like, "Mom, I could not tell them that you were my mom. I just couldn't do it. I was too embarrassed.
Oh,
Wow.
I mean, yeah, it's just cute.
We'll be there
You know,
someday,
they
Chris.
just
That
are-
is funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for Chipper and I, our kids are young enough where they just think we're like rock stars. Like my daughter goes around telling people, it's like, my dad's a YouTuber, you know, like
I
I have some status. Hey, and when
influencer.
if you think your dad's cool, that's probably a good thing, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. It's funny all the looks. I mean, we were just talking
Oh
about
my
this
God.
on another podcast where it's like the sport is so small, right? Like we love it. So
Right.
for us, bigger, you know, it's like, how come we haven't heard about swim run? This is crazy, right? But for a lot of people, it's like it's just a completely foreign thing. They see people running in wetsuits with giant pool buoys. It's just like it's just bizarre, right? So
It's
I
strange,
feel
yeah.
bad. I hope your son's embarrassment is better.
No, it's totally true though. I mean, just yesterday we were doing kind of our last swim run session and there was a guy riding a bike and he was like, oh, and we were wearing bibs so we could practice with, calving down with the bibs
Smart.
on. And he looks at us and he goes, oh, a triathlon. And we're like, swim run. And he's like, oh, okay. And then,
Yeah.
he clearly didn't know. I think he thought we were in a race.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were the only people out.
Yeah. We
But,
totally
yeah, the other
We're
good
winning.
story, and I know you guys have heard
we
this
totally
these
winning.
before. Sarah, remember we were at Crescent Beach
This was
in our
funny.
town, and I think it might have been that right after I had COVID, so I wasn't feeling that great 2 years ago. And we're kind of running along, and Sarah's in front of me, and we were tethered together, and this woman's like, "Oh," and she goes up to Sarah. She's like, "It's so great what you're doing."
Oh,
And I had my earplugs in, so I couldn't hear anything. So I'm just running along slowly,
She thought I was-
being pulled. And so then Sarah,
thought
and
I
I was
was-
like, Sarah, what did she say? And I think she thought I was like, either blind or deaf or both.
I was
yeah.
leading
And,
her,
it was
leading
like
her.
the, adaptive swim run or
Oh,
something.
so
So
funny.
leading the
Yeah.
blind.
That's
Oh
pretty
my God.
hilarious.
Oh yeah, she couldn't.
And the fact that you
Yeah,
couldn't
I would
hear
get
as
this-
well.
she had her
just-
earplugs in.
I had no idea
Yeah.
what
And she was
I had
totally
no idea
feeding
what
it.
she was saying.
Oh, what's
so,
She was like,
oh, okay.
yeah, so yeah.
Oh my
That's great.
gosh.
It was good.
Yeah.
Love it.
That was
We've
pretty
gotten to
good.
the point, we've gotten to the point now where we kind of ignore
That
it
is
though. Like it's gotten to and I don't know about you guys too, but so there's
Yeah.
always so many comments that we just sort of just shake our head and say, and just keep on moving. Otherwise we'd have to stop for like 10 people, you know what I mean, that ask. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes
Yeah, I
a
know.
while
I mean,
to
we're
explain
always-
it in a way that they actually understand it.
Yeah, I mean, we're always doing the Lord's work. I mean, we're
trying
sort of, sort of swim run evangelists in this hemisphere. I think it's safe to say, and yeah, it's tough when you're just trying to get a workout and people are just so confused that they stop you and ask what you're doing. I think like
Yeah.
what I just tell people is like swim runs. Like, what's that? It's like an
it's
amphibious
just
trail
makes
run,
people.
and
Yeah.
usually that
Yeah.
like stuff
Um,
Mm.
kind of like pump.
Yeah.
But
Someone
it's tough.
someone yesterday said, "Good luck in your biathlon." And I was like, I'm not gonna have a
They-
gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that like in the Winter
Yeah.
Olympics or something?
Yeah, it's on skis, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's
Nordic
huge.
skiing, shooting
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
sure they do that
I
in
mean,
Sweden
they knew
too.
there was no bite.
Yeah.
Funny. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
pretty
okay,
awesome.
so World Champs is in 8 days. I want to ask
Yeah.
you guys, okay, you mentioned that, a little bit of trepidation getting that second cutoff. I think what I would say is
Yeah.
like, don't worry about it. Just keep moving forward. The first
Yeah.
couple islands take a long time, but what are you thinking in terms of a plan? You know, slow and steady, kind of what are you thinking from a strat? And I guess I'm sure you've talked to Liz about this, but what are you thinking in terms of like, how are you going to plan out the race?
So
Especially early on.
that's an interesting question. I actually
Sarah-
really like
yeah.
to start out races fairly quick. Because I feel like that's when I have the most energy and I can make up a lot of time. I don't want to go out and kill myself initially, but if I can make up a lot of time in the beginning, I feel better about it. the issue is running over rocks. I just don't want to hurt myself. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing. And we talked to Liz about this actually today. And she was saying, she was saying that's a good plan. Just,
Today.
just really be cautious and don't fall and don't hurt yourself. So,
and keep moving forward as fast
Yeah.
as you can without, risking hurting yourself. So I know I
Certainly-
need to get used to that idea because I don't love to start out super hot because I know it's a long day. So,
the cutoff is
but
there.
but that cutoff is there. So we're gonna have to we're gonna have to push it a little, I think.
Well, you have a mile swim if you want to get sporty. You've got plenty of time to to go hard on that first swim after the run, and then those first couple islands, like they're just it's really treacherous, I suppose. But
Yeah, I mean, the advice that we
but
got,
it'll open up to you for sure.
it's just like it's slow going to the beginning. You want to be safe. By the time you guys get on those islands, like they're already going to be super wet and the rocks will be wet just from other people dripping, seawater on them and stuff. And it's kind of like, we've heard even like, I think Nicholas Ramirez's partner a few years ago, like slipped on one of those and like broke his hand. And it's,
Oh God.
no, you just like, if people are all around you kind of doing crazy stuff, just like ignore them, just run your race. But those first couple islands, a friend of ours who was on the show, Jean Pierre, I think he was saying how like the first two islands, it's just like nothing you've ever seen. It's probably like a super slippery kind of like Vail Island would be a similar thing. Where, like they're just like a lot of moving, a lot of things going on. And just if those take time, let them take time. Like the last thing you want to do is be kind of stressed about trying to move quickly on those stuff, and then trip or whatever, because that's going to slow you up more than anything.
Steady.
So at least those first couple islands, like just move with purpose, but make sure you're trusting footing and all that stuff. And then once you're past those, then you really have a sense. Chipper, correct me if I'm wrong, but then it's kind of like more of like, okay, similar terrain, like over stuff, around stuff, through the woods, like rocky stuff, some places, but it's really those first couple islands that are just kind of like really a different planet, basically.
Treacherous.
Once you're past there, then it's like, if you feel good, you feel like you're good on time. That'd probably be another advice is just kind of like, if you know what the cutoff is, just kind of be mindful of it and have like a time when you expect to be somewhere. So that way you can sort of gauge if you're like, oh my God, like cutoff isn't an issue. You can just discard that from your mind kind of thing. It's like, well, we don't have to worry about that anymore. So that'll be a nice sort of like stress, just release. I'm sure you guys will feel really great once you're past that. But like thinking about like, are you going to move through the sections of the race? And Chipper, one thing that we experienced for sure was like the first couple hours, it seems like it takes a long time. But then next thing you know, like time just moves really quickly. And next thing you know, you're like 6 hours in or something. And it's just like, whoa, where'd the day go kind of thing.
The islands
maybe
keep
that was
chipping away.
It felt like time speeds up.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that in long endurance races of different kinds that I've done. It's almost like you're in this time warp. So, you're 1 hour in and it seems slow, but then all of a sudden it's 3 hours and 6 hours. And you're like, how did that happen? I can't believe we've gone this far. So.
Yeah.
You'll get some of that.
Yeah.
So when are you all getting there in terms of your travel plans? I assume there's probably a swim run shakeout or two in Sweden that you want to have. Are you feeling good about all your travel? Are you getting a little R&R for yourself as well?
My family's coming with us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Afterwards. So
well, they're not getting there until
rest
afterwards.
But maybe a couple days before would be nice. Yes, for sure.
Are you guys going to stay
We
at the
will,
finish
yeah,
line
for sure.
that night after
Yep.
the race?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. That'll be
Plus there's
a
breakfast
can't miss.
in the morning.
Breakfast the day after
Okay.
the race. That is a cannot miss
Legendary.
experience.
I can't wait.
Um,
Yeah, I'm excited for the World Championships of Fika also.
For sure.
So
Yes.
that should be fun.
That's
It's
That's a race
important.
I'm
Like
not
it
losing.
helps you sort of acclimate to
That's
you know, to the time zone, I think.
6.
That's
yeah.
just what I
6 coffees. Yeah, it'll help.
Yeah. I don't
I
even
do,
drink
but I don't know
coffee.
about 6.
Oh, I did have a question for you guys. So on Orono, that long run, I'm afraid of like bonking
Mm.
at that point.
It's so far. Did you guys? How did you guys feel on that one on that island?
Yeah, there was some silence there for a second.
No.
We felt a few
Yeah, I
different
know. I
ways,
know. I was
a
like,
few
oh,
different
no.
years, but the first year was kind of where it started to come apart for me on the nutrition and fueling part. But having said that, like that was definitely a huge lesson learned. Like you got to fuel this excellent adventure of yours, right? And you can't. So you got to make sure that you're keeping all the calories topped up. But yeah, the runs actually it's kind of a little bit rolly, so sometimes it's tough to get into a good rhythm. But there is some
Yeah.
aid stations along the way. But yeah, make sure you have enough and definitely bring a water bottle. Because it's only like what is it, Chris? Like a 200-meter swim from the island before, and they have a full aid station there. So like stock up, fill your water bottle up, put extra snacks in, whatever, and then hit it. And then so you'll have enough. There is a 1 or 2 aid stations on Orna, but
A long run.
yeah, make sure you're prepared from the aid station before. It's only a short swim to Orna, and then but yeah, that would be I don't think I did that the first year. The second year definitely made sure to do that.
Yeah, so echoing that,
Right.
I think like, you know, you want to make sure the way you don't bonk it in Orna is to make sure you're taking care of business 3, 4
Yeah.
hours, 5 hours earlier, and just trying to do the best you can to stay on top of it. If like something isn't working, try something else, but don't just like stop altogether. I mean, hopefully you're
Oh.
starting the race with with the tank on full, and it's going to empty, and anything you take in is
Mhm.
bringing you back, but you're never going to be back to full. So you're going to keep getting depleted, and it's just making sure you're trying to manage that as much as you can. That was like a little like, I don't know, it turned into like a little beatbox thing or something. But yeah, so the way you do well on Orna is by thinking about making sure you're prepared hours before. But then, as Chipper said, once you get to Orna, like as soon as hit landfall, like what we did was just like get prepared for kind of the long run
Yeah.
and just like cap down. You know, the first bit of it has like this pretty big hill. We just like hiked up that, like took some nutrition, got ourselves sort of sorted out for what was going to take us a long time. And then it's just trying to. It's pretty hard running at first, so it isn't like, oh, it's like you just run like a half marathon. It's actually you're going through the woods and similar trails, like up and down stuff, and then eventually you hit a road. You're on that road for a while, and then you get off of that road and you're back into the woods and stuff. So there's only really like, I don't know, what'd you say, Chipper? Like maybe 6 miles of kind of like road running, if that.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 to 12K of the like 20K probably.
Yeah. So just like be mindful. It's going to take a while. And as long as you just keep moving forward, like build in walk breaks, like it gets hilly, walk it. There'll be tons of walking. Like it's just a matter of like, once you get through that island, and this was our mistake. The first year we were like, hey, once we get to Orna, we're good. Like we're finishing this thing. Now we're like, second year, we're like, hey, once we through Orna, all right, now we got this thing in the bag kind of thing. Cause it's really like a test within a test. And there's like a bonus free, like just random aid station. Definitely hit that. Definitely hit the Capri
pickle
Sun.
juice.
Pickle
Just
juice.
any opportunity to fuel, stay kind of like,
Oh yeah.
you know,
I
our
remember
friend
him saying
Andy
that.
Hewitt,
Yeah.
he likes that aid station because they'll have a hose and he just like wets himself and
That's a
gets
good
the
idea.
wetsuit wet again and
Yeah.
wets his shoes and stuff.
Okay.
And I certainly did that, Chipper. I don't know if you did last year, but yeah, I was just
Awesome.
like, hit me. You know, it actually felt really refreshing. Probably helped the last, the last bit.
I know you guys are getting the questions, so we forgot to ask Liz
Sorry.
this
Also,
morning.
this is our show.
Sorry.
We're the ones asking the questions.
I know. Seriously. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
it's okay. She'll
Yeah,
probably
we
like
won't give you
email you
answers,
after,
Jess.
Yeah,
like, here's some follow-ups from the interview.
seriously.
Here's some notes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the weather certainly, we're not concerning ourselves too much with it, but how are you feeling about gear
Oh yeah,
choice? You've been
big
dialing
time.
that
I
in
mean, I think
through
I
your
have all
races. I'm
new
sure it's
everything
changed
since
from when you
then.
first
Shoes,
did
suit,
the Casco Bay
paddles,
short course.
buoy. No, same buoy. So, um, yeah, I actually made a poor choice this spring not to
Yeah.
order an Orno X in my size when it was available, and figured I could just wait a little while. And then it's been sold out for months
Mm.
now. So, awesome, adorable Amy is lending me her suit if I can't get one there.
Yeah.
So ARC says they may have one, they're not sure. And they were like, well, we're going to be closed for a few days. And then I was like, huh, okay,
Awesome.
that's the one water race. So hopefully they'll have a suit for me that I can buy because I need to get one anyway. So, but if not, Amy has been
Yeah.
awesome. And in true swim run spirit, she had lent it to someone else, Liza, who's brought it to Sweden with her, and she's going to give it to me. So it's the friendly spirit of swim run. So, um,
Oh, nice.
so yeah. So I'm going to use Amy's suit.
It's got plenty of good luck left in it.
I don't know how many pairs of shoes we have between the two of us, but it's a lot. So, but I finally settled on the Adidas 210s or 240s,
Many.
which last year I didn't think I liked, but we were both running in the Ultra, what is it? The Temp 4. And I decided I didn't like that. They fit well. They're great for me, but I felt like they were just a little too mushy and cushiony. And I like the grip of the Adidas. I need that extra confidence with that continental sole, I think. So I got a second pair of those. So that was kind of the big change. I've got the floaty paddles, which Sarah sadly lost one of her carbon paddles last year. So yeah, our gear has evolved big time.
Oh
That
no.
was awful. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think I'm going to do the corp. I think I'm comfortable doing the corp. I did that in Casco Bay. I wore that suit. And I was, even though it's
Wait,
an
did you wear that one
introductory
this
suit,
year?
it's a fairly nice warm
Did you wear that for
suit.
Casco
So
this
I think
year?
I'm going to stay with it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought you
it's
wore that
What'd
solid.
you say?
too. That's what I wore. Okay.
I wore that for Casco this year.
It's
Yep. No, if I wore the corp, I was really comfortable. So, and I think I'll probably, I didn't wear sleeves, but I suspect I may need sleeves for Sweden, and go with that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even if you're wearing sleeves just for that first swim, I mean, it's super early in the day and it's the longest swim of the day. I think you'll be glad not to come out of that chilled at all.
Yeah.
If not even a little warm would be fine. But yeah, I think the Corp is a great suit. Like if I woke up in Sweden and had to do the race and all I had
yeah,
mistakenly packed my Corp, I wouldn't worry about it at all. I'd be
yeah,
like, all right, no worries.
it is a great
Soar.
suit. Yeah, for sure. I like the
Great suit.
pockets.
The
They
other
have
thing I
zip
got
pockets,
this
so
year
I think it'll work
that I
well.
absolutely love is
Yeah.
the Halo headband. It's such a simple little thing. And
And
I found that it kept me so much warmer because it kept, the water out of my ears a
Oh.
little more, and it kept my hair dry under my cap, which I think made a massive difference. So I'm definitely going to bring that.
Mm.
cool. Yeah. I mean, it's smart. I mean, we just on our episode last week where we're talking about like our gear guide for this race. I mean, our general advice is always like just be conservative in terms of,
Yeah.
trying to make sure you don't get
Yeah.
hypothermic or cold because that's just so much harder to come back on and you're much more likely to DNF from
Yeah.
hypothermia than you are from like overheating kind of thing. So it's important to be conservative. And I think if the halo works for you, again, that be one for that first swim, even if it's kind of a warmish day, like you'll be glad you wore it on that first swim because it's just a super long, swim to start out. But yeah, sounds like gear. You guys are feeling pretty good out. I definitely can co-sign on the Adidas shoes in terms of grip. So at least you'll have that going for you. But there is no shoe unless you're wearing like, I don't
Slippery.
know,
Yeah.
something with like suction cups. Even then probably wouldn't be that. I mean, some of the stuff is just slippery. Well, it's like you, but if you see other people slipping, don't think you have like magical soles because they're
Seriously.
probably wearing the same shoe.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I'm super stoked for you
Yeah.
guys. I think
Same.
like, to think that, some advice
Yeah,
we
we
got early
definitely
on
are.
is to do the race before you think
Yeah, I
you're ready
mean,
for
on
it because
Swimrun
you'll never actually be ready
Christmas,
for
it
it.
was
And
a
you guys
little like,
are
oh
certainly
shit, what do we do now?
living that truth.
So yeah.
But yeah,
So, but I mean,
Yeah.
we've been given
Yes.
this awesome opportunity. So
Oh shit!
so
Now what?
we
Yeah.
tried our best
Yeah.
and didn't want to pass that
absolutely.
up. So hopefully it goes well.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
For
That's
sure. For sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's gonna be tons of American teams out there. So
Yeah.
there'll be probably multiple FICA gatherings and all sorts of stuff out there. So we're definitely have FOMO for not being there with you
Oh,
all
really?
just to have like a nice solid American contingent. I mean, the first year
wow.
we
Oh,
did it, I
wow. I
think there
didn't
was
know
like
that.
Oh
8
my
people
gosh.
from America. Second year was better. Yeah, it was 8 or 10 or something. It was really small.
Yeah.
Second
Yeah.
year
Yeah. I think it's
the
just
group,
so
which was
cool
good.
to
But
meet all of these people from all over the world. I'm super excited. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
the bubble's
Yeah.
great. The swimmer bubble.
Thanks.
You
It's
guys
like
are gonna have
fun.
such a great time.
so much
It
fun.
really is. Yeah.
It's
Seriously.
like summer camp for
Right?
adults.
It really
Oh
is.
my gosh. I know.
It's like, what'd you do?
I
I
know.
ran around for
I
like 12
I know.
hours with my friends.
I saw
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I saw this meme here recently. It's like, Tracy, I showed it to you too. It's I'm trying to remember. So it's like, oh, sign up for a
Yeah.
triathlon if you don't really want to hang out with your family or your friends too much. And so this is very much felt like I've definitely had a lot of me time training for this race, which is kind of nice.
Yeah,
You know what I
same.
mean? And my family's been very supportive, but
Same.
I'll be sad. I'll be
But
sad to see
hopefully
it
next
end,
year we can
for
go
sure.
to one or two
So
of the races we haven't done.
yeah.
So once our families recover.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my
So
family needs recovery time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That no.
It's too funny. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's like, at some point worth,
Yeah.
spending some time on. It's like,
right.
there is a cost, right? Like, we certainly couldn't do it without the support of our wives, taking care of the kids, and our kids are small still. So, there's just a lot of moving pieces there. But, I think on the one hand, I think they love it that at least, my wife always says it. She's just glad that we're doing this together.
Yeah.
And we're like taking care of each other and looking out for each other. But yeah, it is, that's one of the reasons why we didn't do it this year. It
Yeah.
was like, hey, to do it right, you really have to be away for a
Right.
week,
Yeah.
right when school's starting.
Yeah, it's
And,
tough.
well, at one point I was like, why don't you guys come out
Yeah.
and we'll all hang out in Sweden?
Right.
And then my wife was like, well, that's great. But, so now I'm going to be in a foreign country
Yes.
with the 2 kids without any sort of
Yes.
support, right? It's like, I'd rather just
Yeah.
stay home where
Yeah.
I can, have Nana and stuff, right? So it's tough. It's tough. But I think like, while there's a huge burden on them, I think, there's, if I can speak for them, I'm sure they're
Yeah.
super stoked for you guys
I know.
and what
Hard
a
to
story
believe,
to be like,
but
you
it's
guys
been
met
super, super fun.
and now you're
Yeah,
doing the world
for
championship
sure.
of swim run.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Well, Sarah, Tracy,
Oh,
thank you so much for coming on the show. It was so great to chat with you guys. Wish you the best of luck. Again, at the time of recording, this race is happening in 8 days. It's going to be awesome. We'll
yeah.
be following you. If you see a camera, make sure you
We will do.
do one of these. you have
We
the
will
beer
do.
because we'll certainly be
Thank
watching
you so much.
as well. I'm sure people in America supporting you. So
For
thank you so
sure.
much for coming on.
Thank you.
Awesome
Thanks,
race.
guys. All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a rating or review, since that's the best way to help other people discover the show and the sport of swim run.
Check out our website, lowtideboys.com. That's boys with a Z, for swimrun resources, including gear guides, tips, how-to videos, and so much more. Make sure to check out our meme page at The Low Tide Boys on Instagram. If you have any questions or suggestions for the show, send us a DM or email us at lowtideboys@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Riding Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of our swim run and other activities.
Lots of activities.
Lots of activities.
Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim.
Then a run,
And then a swim,
then another run,
then another swim.
then run some more.
Just keep going.
Let's go.
And then stop at some point because,
And fuel. Don't forget to fuel.
Gotta fuel
Of
too.
course, yes.